Andrew Markin, our Deputy Admissions Tutor, who's waving at you there. Also Kiranjit, who is one of our student ambassadors, who'll hopefully be telling you a bit about our student viewpoint. And I guess I should have introduced myself. My name's Catherine, and I'm the admissions tutor for Biomedical Science. So we're going to share a presentation with you, I hope, and basically talk you through a bit of stuff about life at the university, which Andrew will talk about, and then I'll tell you a bit more about the course. If hopefully our employability lead will also be able to join us later on for the Q&A, but I'm not 100% sure about that, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, so let me try sharing my slides. Okay, so we're going to kick off with just a little video, which hopefully will be playing the sound that introduces the course to you, and then Andrew will take over. Andrew, if you just tell me when you need me to advance the slides, that would be great. Over to you, Andrew.
Hi there. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about Tooting itself, which is where the university is situated. So Tooting, the area, Tooting is this really lovely area, load of stuff going on there, and is frankly absolutely full of things to do. So you've obviously got the Northern Line connection to central London, get into centre in half an hour, basically no time. I mean, it's London, like everywhere's half an hour from each other. Tooting itself, shops, restaurants, more than you can eat, and also a huge amount of food markets, weirdly. So you've got two big food markets there, food halls, all with the individual stalls. So you can find some really lovely cuisine there, some basically whatever your taste is, they've got something there for it. And so the living accommodation for students is Horton Halls, which is very close to the university itself, very close to the Tooting Centre as well. So plenty of stuff to do there. Next slide, please. So St George's itself merged with City University, so now we are called City St George's, which I need to get used to saying, or we are from the when are we doing it for external? I think from January or February, we're starting to call that on external slides as well. But either way, we're City St George's now. So what this essentially means is we were a medical school without the rest of the university. City was a university without a medical school. So perfect union there. Basically means we have a lot more facilities now and a lot more funding. So exciting time to join. In terms of our campus, we are still very much focused on specialist science and healthcare programs. So either like allied health, medicine, paramedics, or on the specialist science side, so pharmaceuticals and biomed. So we're a really small campus community, very friendly, very diverse. And it's nice being actually on a small campus because you can meet people from across the courses rather than just sticking to your own course. And you kind of get to know everyone, the lecturers, the other students, the rest of the technical staff. We also have a very active student union, which has lots of clubs and societies. There's a lot of stuff that you can get involved in there. So that's from sports, that's from other clubs, cultural groups, um, other fun ones. So you get involved in the community as well. There's also a student life centre as well. So you have a dedicated student life centre. That's to help you when adjusting to university is a difficult time. So we have a dedicated student life centre to do our best to help you with that. Next slide, please. Yeah. Now, Biomed itself at St George's, because of our specialist location, means we have access. Oh, yeah, we're inside a hospital. We are literally as hospital-based as you can get. So this means that we're in a pretty unique position where we have a range of labs, from like classic research specialist labs to medical labs, hospital-based labs as well. So you've got a huge thing to do there. And this means you have people who are in active research, people who are active clinicians, and then dedicated educators as well, or a mixture of all three. So we have core and specialist teaching and also research facilities, which you'll get involved in more in your third year. And we have a really broad curriculum as part of a biomedical science course. You can choose which area you want to sort of specialize down onto that on a third year. And that's kind of your specialist pathways. This is where in third year you focus on the area and then you kind of end with this large research project that you want to do. So I'm currently running two research projects at the moment. One of them's on both are anatomy because I am an anatomy lecturer. But one's based on photogrammetry, which is making 3D scanning specimens to make 3D models from them. And another one is based on 3D printing. So you get some really interesting out there projects. You also have personal tutor support, so they will be people who've got to support you throughout your journey through the university, both on the academic side, but also just kind of like to help you actually get settled into university. It's a big adjustment. It's a very different set kettle of fish from being at sixth form and secondary school. So it's to get you, make sure that you settle in, right? Making sure that you flag any issues that you're having, bringing up things, helping you even with just simply the change of pace and revision. And by giving you this kind of support, giving you this whole range of things, this means you have a really solid foundation for your future career pathways when you finish your degree, whether that's a bachelor's or it's a master's. Yeah. Um, oh, Catherine, you're muted.
Oh, thank you.
No
Always
worries.
do that. Um, so I guess I will take over now, and
Mhm.
I'm going to give you a little bit about our careers options, because we know that your future career is something that is very important to you. So St George's overall is number 3 in the UK for graduate prospects, and 95% of St George's graduates go straight into employment or further study. Biomedical Science itself, I think it's something like 86% are doing the same. So we're doing quite well in the graduate prospects area there. So just to sort of highlight some of our resources, you can see here, this is what our careers page on our virtual learning environment, Canvas, looks like. And that's where you'll be able to find all the careers resources and support available to our students. So we actually are the only program at St George's that has a bespoke employability lead, an academic lead for employability. So that's one of our academics, Andrula, who is part of her job is to help students explore, plan, apply for their future careers. We have careers in teaching embedded into the curriculum. We've got workshops, drop-in careers clinics, tutorials, all sorts of things. And we have some big events like the Careers Fair and the Summer Careers Festival. You've also got the opportunity for appointments with University of London careers consultants who are on site, and there's continued support after graduation, basically for the rest of your life as a member of the University of London. So, people often ask us, what can you do with biomedical science as a degree afterwards? And really, the thing to say is it's really more about what you can't do. There's a huge range of options open to you. And this little circle over here just shows you a small number of some of the things in a very broad aspects. So we've got students who go on to do vocational courses like medicine and dentistry or physician associate, students who go on to do more specialised scientific studies such as masters or PhDs. We've got people moving into scientific research, be that clinical or basic research, working in pharma and biotech or academic. We've got sort of slightly um, sideways movements towards careers in such areas such as medical writing, scientific publishing, grant funding, diagnostics, forensics, and then we've got a set of careers options that are using all your transferable skills and indeed some of your scientific knowledge from your degree, but moving into areas like law, teaching, finance, and so forth. And all of these career options are going to involve transferable employability skills. And we have a program called MISA that helps you develop the top 10 career skills, transferable skills that employers are looking for, helping you demonstrate how you've gained those through your studies and the things that you've been doing at university so that you're in a very strong position when you're applying. So just a little few examples of some of our alumni, what they're doing. So we've got Yasmin, who's a senior clinical research manager. We've got Carl, who's working for KPMG. We've got people like Forzia in publishing. We've got Emily, who went into teaching and is now head of her department. We have Kalani working in law, consultancy, people working at Deloitte. We've got Hera, who went to do neurosurgery specialization physician associate. And Nathan has now finished his PhD and is working in medical writing. Our MSci degree, which is our 4-year degree, slightly different from our BSc 3-year degree, which I'll tell you about in a little bit more detail later. This degree prepares you somewhat more if you're really thinking about research as a possibility for a future career. And we have students who've gone on to PhD positions at a variety of places, including Cambridge, Bristol, BBSRC doctoral training programme, St George's. We've had students go to the Bupa graduate recruitment scheme. We've got people working in clinical trials and also in life sciences consultancy. So you can see a huge range of options and different onward career paths there. We also offer a professional training year, which is a year in industry, so that you're entering the job market with work experience and industry contacts. This takes place between years 2 and 3, and it's an optional part of the degree. So it's sort of depending on whether it's a paid or an unpaid placement. It slightly varies in the length of time. It's 7 to 8 months for unpaid placements and 11 to 12 months for paid placements, which tend to be in pharma. And you can see here some of the places that we've had our students go to. So GSK, Pfizer, Great Ormond Street, Wellcome Sanger, people working in the NHS, all sorts of different places. And it's also possible to undertake placements abroad. And we've got several students abroad at the moment in places like Barcelona and Jena in Germany and other partner universities. It's worth noting that PTY students do tend to out-earn their counterparts, and when they come back, they're all really positive about the experience and how it's helped them grow and develop their skills, develop networking. And it's also, should also mention that study abroad placements are also available for MSci Year 4 projects and summer placements as well as the PTY. So moving on to think a little bit about our degrees, then as I said, we've got a BSc, which is a 3-year degree, and a Masters in Science or MSci, which is 4 years. And both of these are concerned with biomedical science as a subject, which is exploring the broad understanding of the scientific basis of human health and disease and healthcare applications. So if we can understand what's happening in our bodies in a normal situation and a disease situation, then we can apply that to prevention, to diagnosis, and to treatment. As Andrew's mentioned, you're studying within a dedicated science and healthcare university. In year 3, you can select a specialised pathway. You can transfer to the 4-year MSci at the end of year 2 if you wish to. You've got that opportunity to gain professional experience through the PTY and summer placements, and we've got careers advice embedded into our teaching. The MSci is a continuous integrated programme, and the final year is at level 7, which is why you graduate with a master's rather than a bachelor's degree. It has bespoke research skills modules and an extensive research project, and it is more competitive for PhD study or research posts. And it's eligible for 4 years of student loans, which are at the undergraduate level. As I said, you can transfer to and from the BSc, and there's the opportunity for final year study abroad. So a little bit more about the actual setup or layout, timing, if you like. We've got a 30-week year, and that's split into 2 semesters. Say 40 hours a week learning is required from you to be really getting on with your studies and doing well, engaging with everything. And of that, 14 to 18 hours is contact teaching time, so face-to-face teaching. At the moment, we're doing blended learning. So that's at least 3 days on-site activities and 2 days self-directed learning at home or in the library. We find that our students quite like this setup, particularly as quite a lot of our students are commuters. So when you're on site, you'd be doing things like practicals, perhaps working in the anatomy suite, doing small group teaching like tutorials in groups of sort of 8 to 12 people. Some lectures are on site. Our lecture consolidation sessions where you can come and discuss with the lecturers what you've learned, do some additional activities, try and build up your understanding of the lectures are held on site. And of course, our careers events and activities. Self-directed learning, which is usually looking at, perhaps recorded lectures online, doing your reading, making notes, doing your assignments, can take place at home or in fact in our library, which is open 24/7. In terms of content in years 1 and 2, there are various core topics. You've got 6 modules per year. And so core topics would include things like cell biology, so DNA, RNA, metabolism, cellular function, etc., physiology, which is how cells and tissues come together to form organs, anatomy, thinking about that body and tissue structure and function. We've got a couple of modules on understanding disease, so understanding what is going wrong in various different disease contexts, be it infectious disease, cancer, or many others. We study immunology, so our innate immune response and the importance of that to disease. Genomics, looking at the genome and how that impacts with disease, looking at gene structure and function. And pharmacology, which of course is the impact of drugs on cells and tissues. We also do teaching around a variety of skill sets like lab skills, data analysis, scientific writing, and communications, transferable skills, and careers. In year 2, we've got a summer sorry, not a summer placement, a research awareness day, which is usually in February, and we've also got summer placements available. Particularly, we've got paid ones available for year 2 students, but it's possible to discuss this with people at any time. So just over here, I want to point out these are some of the things that you might be studying as you go through in your practicals. So this would be an example of working perhaps with DNA sequences in a practical. This would be an example of running an electrophoresis gel, perhaps a PCR that you've performed in the practical. Here we've got people working on microbiology and immunology. Here we're looking at blood cells, which is part of one of the disease modules. Flow cytometry here. We also work with zebrafish as a model animal. And here we've got an example of one of the activities that you do in year 2, where you work in small groups to find connections between apparently unrelated topics like red hair and pain. And you work together to find those scientific links and then present it in the form of a poster. Okay, so that's year 1 and 2, and that's very core content, really giving you strong foundations in a variety of different areas that are very important for biomedical science. In year 3, you can choose to specialise, and this will actually be reflected in your degree title. So if you choose to specialise in, say, immunology, your degree title would be Biomedical Science with Immunology. So we have around 7 to 9 specialist pathways. These have multiple modules within them. And some of the topic examples that you might study in some of those modules would be things like cancer, cardiovascular science, developmental biology, and many more. And this is your opportunity to sort of direct your studies into an area of interest that you've uncovered as you've gone along in years 1 and 2. In addition to this, you have an extensive year 3 project, which is a hands-on research project where we embed you into a professional research lab here at St George's to work on a real world question. And that could be, you do get to list your choice of potential projects. So you could be working on animal models of congenital disease, you could be working with cancer organoids, you could be working with infectious diseases, whatever it is that you're interested in. And in addition to these hands-on scientific skills, you also learn research skills, data analysis, communications, and many other transferable skills through this activity. Talking about the MSci a little bit more now. Year 3, so the first 2 years of the MSci are the same as for the BSc. In MSci Year 3, you can choose from 4 specialist pathways, which fit with the 3 additional research skills modules that you would do as an MSci student. And these are looking at experimental design, data analysis, a structured research project where you are taught various lab techniques and then apply them in a project, and then biomedical research techniques, which is looking at drug development. And you do a research project, but this is a small project embedded into the structured research project module. But again, it's a real world question supervised by skilled researchers, and you develop all those transferable skills. Year 4 of the MSci is basically a academic year-long research project. Again, we work with you to identify your area of interest and a lab that you want to go to work in your final year. And you can undertake this final year project abroad if you wish. Here we've got an example of one of our students who was working on small vessel disease in the brain. This is supported by a talk module which teaches you how to do research and how to think about the things that you need to consider to do successful research. And as I mentioned before, we've got excellent graduate outcomes. We also have bespoke careers sessions. We have some extracurricular events where we will go and visit places like the Crick Institute or go to talks at, say, the Royal Institution. And we encourage our students to disseminate their research. Here we've got an example of one of our MSci students who won the undergraduate poster prize at Research Day at St George's. So just a little word about our teaching and learning environments. We've got a library with many computer terminals for you to work at, lots of resources in terms of books, e-journals, journals, so forth. Lots of different teaching spaces depending on the size of the group. We've got our pathology museum with many different specimens in it that we use as part of our teaching as well. And then a variety of bespoke research spaces, which you tend to use more in year 3, in addition to our large teaching labs where you would be doing practicals in years 1 and 2. So we are rated silver for our teaching excellence, and you are taught by active scientific researchers and clinicians who are all experts in their field during your studies. Over 80% of our students think that we're good at explaining things, which is nice, that we're exploring ideas in depth, and that they've got the opportunity to bring information together and build a sort of worldview of what they're studying themselves. And many of our students think that the course is intellectually stimulating. And just a few little quotes down here. People are saying that they're never bored, that they're really developing their skills, that it's a really good, friendly and supportive atmosphere, and that the staff are interactive, enthusiastic. So some nice positive feedback from some of our students there. Just to mention, as Andrew said, we have merged with City St George's, and over the next year you'll be seeing our launch of our new brand. And it's going to be a very powerful multi-faculty institution with lots of different campuses. And biomedical science will be based on our Tooting campus, as we've been describing to you. And it's a very exciting opportunity to really sort of create a health and science powerhouse with a real breadth of expertise in health education. And over time, our facilities are going to expand and improve so that students can benefit from the larger institutions spanning different campuses. So just to go over the highlights, this is a unique biomedical science course in a specialist environment. There's a broad curriculum initially, but then flexibility and focus in years 3 and 4, and an intensive final year project, both for the BSc and the MSci. Careers advice and support is embedded into the teaching, and we have a dedicated employability lead. You can gain professional experience during the optional professional training year, and there are lots of opportunities to study abroad. We are currently going for the Royal Society of Biology accreditation, but that is pending. And finally, we've got excellent graduate outcomes. And I asked a few students, a few people to sort of come up with some words to describe biomedical science at St George's. And I think these 3 are perhaps really, really good description. Inspirational, supportive, creative. Okay, so our entry requirements are BBC with Bs in biology and chemistry. We're looking for 5 subjects at GCSE, including maths, English language and science. We will accept international baccalaureate at these levels and the access diploma, and we do consider a wide variety of other UK and international qualifications, which you can see on our website. So I'm going to finish, I hope, by playing a video, if it's going to work. Perhaps not. So I think I am just going to finish there. And just any questions, you can obviously ask them now. Or any sort of more technical questions about applications, please get in touch with us at study@st.George's. So I'm going to stop sharing there. And I think now I think we're going to bring in our student ambassadors who are going to give you the student viewpoint of studying at St George's and studying biomedical science at St George's. So welcome, Karanjit. Do we have Ikra as well?
Yes. Yeah.
Fabulous. Okay, well, I guess I will turn my mic off and let you guys tell everyone what it's like. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name's Karen. I'm a final year biomedical science student. So when I was choosing my university degree, I really enjoyed biology at A level, and with biomedical science, you basically find out like how diseases arise, and you get to go through different body sections. And for me, I really enjoyed female reproduction. So for my final year, I chose science of reproduction. But with my other friends, they went through neuroscience, for example. There was also anatomy, different pathways that you can choose. And there's also a wide range of careers, like Catherine was saying. You can do different degrees, medicine, dentistries, masters, etc., pharmaceutical companies. I also really like that you had the option for PTY years. So some of my friends have gone off to do placement years. Some of them have gone off abroad to Barcelona, which I think is really exciting, especially in the science aspect. I think it's really unique. I also really like at St. George's when I get confused, especially because it's not an easy degree, but you're really supported with the staff members. They'll take time, you can send them loads of questions and they'll take time and go through it with you. So I really enjoyed that with the staff members. They're really supportive. In terms of the course schedule, so you basically have your lectures, but what I like is that you'll have your lectures at the start of the week and then you have practical sessions. So you could either have your lab sessions at the end of the week, or if it's anatomy, you can have a dissection room session. So you'll cover the content first and then you'll go into a practical aspect, which is good for me because I really like the practical kind of side of stuff. And then in terms of like organizing, I always tell new students, especially, don't fall behind in lectures. So for me, it works well in terms of making a timetable. So I could organize my time in terms of finding when I'm free to put in my revision and to make sure I don't fall behind. Because with the amount of lectures, it's so hard to organize it all. And then when exams come, it's just less stressful if you've managed to stay on top of it all. And then you've also got your in-course assessments, so then it ensures you're meeting those deadlines. And then on Wednesday afternoons, you've got a free period, so that's like a good chance to get involved in societies. So I really like the Pediatric Society because I got to do work experience. So with St. George's, because we're based in the hospital, with the Pediatric Society, they let me shadow some of the doctors on the pediatric A&E. So that was really nice and it's unique as well to St. George's. And then there's also like Teddy Bear Hospital. I went to a primary school, and then all the children, they bought their teddy bears and they practiced like wrapping up bandages on them, and they pretended to be like surgeons. So it was a really nice experience. And there's loads of societies to get involved with, sports, everything. And you can even start your own. So if there's something that you're interested in, but it's not currently there, you can get funding to start your own society. And in terms of like one of my favorite things, because I'm a commuter, I take the Northern Line, and the Northern Line, it goes straight past central London, so Oxford Street, and in wintertime they have the Christmas lights. And because it's central London, you'll never get bored. There's always something there for everyone. So that's one of my favorite things about being in Tooting. Like you can just get the Northern Line to anywhere, and you'll never get bored. There's always something for everyone. I'd also say like a common question with students is always what about work? Because obviously with like funding, you need to support yourself. With St. George's as well, there's so many opportunities for work. They have student ambassador jobs, student advisors. I did something called primary practice with student ambassadors, which is really nice. And we got to go to primary schools and then we teach them about healthcare so that they're just more aware of like healthcare jobs like doctors, nurses, occupational therapy, physios. When they go to GCSEs and A levels, they're more aware of those career options. And it's something you get paid for as well. And it's a really nice experience. It looks good in your CV as well. And a lot of the time, I'll tell my friends from other universities, and they'll say things like, "Oh, we never get those chances." And it's just like something that's unique to St. George's, and it's quite good. I think it's an advantage as well of being like in a close, small community. So that's something that's quite good as well, being at St. George's. But I'll hand over to Ikra so she can give you her views.
Hiya, so my name is Ikra. I graduated this year from doing biomedical science here at George's, and so I'll just talk through my experience, etc. So the reason why I picked this course was because I wanted to do biomedical science in a place that was more like clinically taught. So one good thing about biomedical science here at St. George's at the moment is that we learn a lot of things that are just not just science. So we learn things like physiology, anatomy, pathology, immunology. So there's a lot of kind of medicine aspects to that. So you get to learn a lot about certain diseases, symptoms. And I think one thing which is really good in first and second year, you have CBL, which is also what the medics have, which is called case-based learning. So you'll have a patient that you're given and you have to go through the sheet and figure out what they have, and I really enjoyed that. And I think also what I enjoyed was the fact that you could also my camera is on. I don't know, can you guys see me? Okay, sorry, I don't know if you could see me there, but
No, sorry, we can't, Ikra. But
can you see me now?
You can't.
no, sorry.
You still can't see me?
No.
Oh, I don't know why that's happening.
Don't worry too much about it. You know, technical issues, if you've tried, just I think it's probably better if you just sort of keep telling us about your experience, really.
Okay,
and
sorry about
hopefully
that,
it will bring itself on, but if not, then
yeah, because I've got my camera on this side, I can see myself, but I don't know why you guys can't see me. Anyways, I'll continue. I'm so sorry about that, guys. I hopefully you can still hear me. So I think another thing that I liked about this course was that you can do the lectures online. So with me, because I was a commuter and I was commuting from a very far distance, it was good for me if I could do have the option of doing lectures online. And also that meant that I had a better work-life balance. So if there was anything else I wanted to do, I could kind of fit in the lectures at a different time and not have to go on site. But the consolidation sessions, we have them. So we'd have one once every week or 2 weeks. And that was really good because you'd go in and you could ask the lecturer about questions you have for that week's lectures. And I found that really good because you get kind of first-hand advice if you're struggling, and they can help you like figure out what you don't get. And then in terms of the course structure, so it's the same as how Kiranjit described it. So what will happen is every week you will get a list of lectures that you have to do. You don't have to do them on the same day, but it's better if you do them on the same day, just because it helps them from it stops them from being piled on. And once a week you'll have tutorials, which is where you'll have cases and you'll go through them. and that's what I was talking about with case-based learning. So those are when you have your CBLs. And then in terms of how do I balance my studies with my work and social life, so I didn't actually work until second year, which I found was a lot easier. But when I did work, I worked with the university, so that one's great because there are a lot of remote job options that you can do. So I was a tutor on the Science Stars program, which is where I was tutoring children in year 11 for their GCSEs. And then I also did clearing agent. So I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with clearing. It's when, you know, you don't get into university and then you call them up on results day and you try and get a space. So I was helping with that as well. And there are a few more jobs that you can do, like this ambassador job. So the good thing about George's is if you are struggling maybe to find work or you want work that's flexible with studying, you can, you know, apply for one of these jobs and it helps alongside. And then in terms of like, did I live out or did I commute? So first year I lived out in halls, and the halls is really good. It's called Horton Halls. So they have everything there. So like everything, bills and everything is included in your rent. And it's a really nice place, especially in first year, to get to know everyone because, you know, you are new and there's going to be a lot of people that maybe are not from London. And so if you're also not from London like I am, it's nice to like meet other people who are also not local. So I really like that. And also it's really good. Like they have very good security and there's buses that go so you can, you know, get the bus. And it's I would say around a 10-15 minute walk to the university, so it's not too bad at all. So yeah, I do recommend if you are living out, then definitely consider Horton Halls. And then I commuted for my second and third year. And the good thing about commuting is because, you know, most people will finish, so everybody finishes their on-site lectures usually around 5 p.m. So everyone usually will be going home, or you'll always have someone to commute with, or someone you might just see on the train and like, you know, someone from your class or something, and you can just have a chat with them basically. And then in terms of tutoring, so I was actually new to tutoring, but I think what I liked about it was the fact that one, it's very diverse. So there's a lot of different types of people that you can meet. You get to know a lot of people, and there's a lot of like shops and like food spaces and also like shopping places. So everything is basically on just one market, one high street. So it's very like convenient if you need to like get something. It's very accessible. And also like a lot of the food places are also very affordable, so it's a great kind of option if you want to go for lunch outside because it's very also next to the university, is not too far. And I think also with tutoring, one thing I liked about it, it's got a very community kind of feel, so you will see, you know, the same kind of people, and because everyone is going to the same university, you're bound to like meet someone on the way, that, you know, and you can like say hi and stuff. And then in terms of societies, so I was part of Islamic Society for 3 years, and I was an active member. So we did a lot of different projects. So we did homeless drives and charity events. And I also was part of the Biomedical. So I was their secretary. So I was involved in, you know, making posters and stuff for that. So you can also take kind of roles within the societies if that's something that you want, or you can just, you know, participate in terms of just showing up. There's a lot of cool societies, things like badminton society if you like sports. Again, there's also like academic societies, so you can join things like anatomy society. So if you are fond of anatomy, then you can do that. There's pediatric society. There's even a accident and emergency society where if you want to like get work experience, because St. George's is connected to a hospital, you can even get work experience in the accident and emergency department in the hospital. So that's really good if you're like looking into doing something, I guess, healthcare related in the future in terms of your job. And yeah, I think that's about it. I really enjoyed my time at St. George's. I think when I was there, so I was the last year before the merger, which is this year, and I really enjoyed like just a small community, like, you know, because the university is small, you know, you see the same people again and again, and so it's easy to make friends and make long time memories. I feel like some other universities, because they're so big, you don't get that kind of, you're not able to have those connections with people that you want to have. So I like that about that. And there's a lot of older students, and they are very, very helpful. So you can meet people from other years, you can meet people from other courses. So a lot of my friends are medics, and a lot of them will become doctors soon. I also have friends that are physiotherapists, so there's a lot of people that you'll meet. And there's even like graduates, because we do have like graduate courses, so it's nice to see like a wide range of like people. And yeah, I think that's about it. Hopefully my camera is on now. If not, I'm so sorry about that again, because it's showing on my side, but maybe it's not showing on yours. But yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Ikra and Karanjit. That was a lovely view of how it is to be a student on biomedical science at George's. Just to say, if you would like to ask a question, then please click on the Q&A button at the should be available on your screen, and type in your question. While we're waiting for that, I realise that I forgot to mention a word about assessment, so I'll do that now while we're waiting to see if anyone does have any questions they want to pop into the Q&A. So assessments are a mixture of, you heard our students mention in-course assessment as well as exams. So what that is things that you undertake during your module that will be linked to the module content. So things like you'd be doing practicals, which will be assessed, that we link to what you're learning in a particular module. You might have to do a presentation, you might have to do a piece of scientific writing, perhaps some small quizzes, depends on the module. In addition to that, you've got your exams. In years 1 and 2, the exams take place at the end of each semester. So you're being examined on the modules that you've just done, which is quite handy. And then in year 3, exams are at the end of the year, in sort of May time, April, May. And just a quick word about MSci year 4, that is all in-course assessment. There are no exams in year 4 of the MSci, because you're assessed on the output of your research rather than an exam. So does anyone have any questions? Do you please pop them into the Q&A chat? I can't actually see anything at the moment.
Can I just add, so with the
please.
exams, so because at the end of every semester, so what will happen is you'll have two semesters, and then you'll have an exam for that, and then you'll have another 2 semesters, for example, and then you'll have an exam on that. So for first and second year, you'll have your first exams around, I believe it was November, December, January time, like around that time. And then you'll have your second exams in June, around June. It might be pushed back a year. A month, sorry. And then with third year, you have all of your exams all at once at the end of around May, June. But you don't have to worry about that right now, since, you know, you're not in third year. But yeah.
Thank you, Ikra, for telling us a bit more about how you found the exams. I can't really see any questions as yet, but I do realise, I think that our employability lead, Andrula, has just managed to join us. So perhaps I could bring her in to share a little bit more detail than I perhaps know about the careers options available to you.
Thanks, Kath. Hello, everyone. Really sorry I've joined you so late, but yeah, I'm more than happy to take questions. But essentially, from an employability perspective, biomedical science is a really great degree because it keeps lots of your options open. So it's great if you want to know what you want to do, but if you're not sure what you'd like to do when you graduate, then the skills that you gain on the programme give you quite a diverse range of career paths. So we have graduates that go down science pathways, so working in big pharmaceutical industries, science communication, medical writing. We have lots of students that go into healthcare professions, but we also have students that transfer their skills into slightly different arenas like finance and law. So the world is your oyster if you do biomedical science, and we support you on the programme to be able to recognise and understand what the skills are. But at the same time, we want you to be able to develop them and demonstrate them on your CVs and as part of your applications. So you get lots of support. I'm just looking to see if there are any questions about employability.
There don't seem to me, but perhaps I could bring in our students here and get them to sort of perhaps speak a little bit about the questions that they had or questions their friends had around employability and what they found helpful or useful that from what we provide on our career. So perhaps if you share what you're thinking of going on to do and how support the various availability of different options here helped you narrow down what it was that you decided to go on and consider later.
So for me, it was medicine. I got support again from the Pediatric Society when they let me do the work experience on the pediatric A&E. So that was really nice. And then I had a lot of support from the career service who helped me with my application. They helped me with the personal statement. And then there's also a lot of societies as well. They do revision with you in terms of MMI practice, and I'm just trying to think. A lot of preparing with the GAMSAT, which is for the postgraduate graduate entry medicine as well. So when you're joining societies, you'll often see that they'll give you a lot of support and events that they'll run, which is quite nice for you as well. They give you support with careers. Like Ikra was talking about, they have academic societies. So I recommend that when you do join universities, you have a good look at the wide range of societies, because that can be really useful, especially when you're going throughout your degree. You'll just have a look around, you'll see different events pop up and you'll think, okay, that looks interesting, I might go to that event. It just helps you on the side of your degree. And also I think the PTY year, it's something I didn't get the chance to do, but I know a lot of my friends did. I think that was really interesting, and I think it's a really good option in the biomed degree. I know a lot of my friends recently, they're doing it now. Some of them are doing pharmaceutical companies, a lot of them are doing they're staying in St. George's but going on the wards, or they're going in the research labs or within the teaching environment, which is quite interesting. Or some of them have gone abroad.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for that here. So we do have a question, so I'm glad to see it's working. Somebody is asking if you have to have so you're asking about paramedic. So this is biomedical science. So if you want to know about the requirements for the paramedical science, then you would need to go to our website and look at the entry requirements there and see what they say about that. Sorry, I can't help you further with that, but this is biomedical science. Ikra, do you want to come in?
Yeah, I just wanted to speak. Can you hear me? Just wanted to ask if you can hear me. Okay, so I just wanted to come on here and say I am the same as Kiranjit. So I graduated this year, and my plan is to apply for medicine this year as well, hopefully. So I'm on a gap year at the moment, and basically I feel like the employability, especially Andrula, like she was so helpful with me. So when I didn't get in like the first time, because I applied in second year as well, and she was really good with, you know, telling me what options I have, like do I really want to consider this, you know, all of this. So I thought that was really good, because sometimes you need to speak to a professional, and you need to speak to someone like Andrula, who's been doing her job for a long time and kind of seen students come in and out and have like similar kind of stories to you and see how, you know, they've gone about it. And I think also employability, I think, like I mentioned before, we do have jobs at university, but there are like other things that you can kind of do, like for example, like PTY, but also you know, if you get in touch with like certain lecturers and stuff. So I've known people in the past and they've, you know, been more than happy to like have you shadow them in their lab or whatever project they're doing, and that can be really good for like figuring out if you want to do, for example, research in the future. So with me for medicine, I think what was useful as well, so like currently I did pediatric society, so I worked in the NICU and PICU, which is the neonatal intensive care unit and the postnatal intensive care unit, sorry, the postnatal care unit. So I got to see a lot of babies and it was really nice, and I got to see a lot of patients. And then I also did shadowing at the accident and emergency department, so I was lucky to be able to do it in both resus and majors A and B, which is just essentially like, you know, where all of the urgent cases come to kind of first thing, and like seeing that first-hand experience and being able to like help with patients, it really like helped me solidify that I still want to do medicine. So I think it's great that St. George's have a hospital and they have societies that can help you, you know, gain work experience if that's something that you're interested in, because I know, you know, as a student how hard it is sometimes to get work experience in hospitals and stuff. Sometimes, you know, it's just a lot of like paperwork and you have to know someone. So with George's is great because you just have that direct link. And I think in terms of, I guess it's kind of linked to employability, but because the university is in a hospital, you kind of see patients over time, and you see like porters and you see like just medical students and other like healthcare professionals, and it's really good, like you can speak to them and you kind of can see it in action and see like, you know, patients being wheeled across, you know, etc. and stuff like that, or like you can see doctors on their like coffee breaks and whatnot. And most of the time, if you like ask them when they're not busy, they're more than happy to kind of give you advice, and you can kind of, you know, gauge if you're so interested in a certain field. So I think that's great. And yeah, that's about it.
Thank you so much for that insight, Ikra and Rula.
Thank you, Kath. I just wanted to add also that we have a really big careers fair every year where we invite lots of our graduates back. So they're really generous with their time. So if there's a specific career path that you're really keen on, then we know a graduate that's done it. So the careers fair, we bring them back and we give our students the opportunity to network with them. So, for example, this year we have as one of our stands Central London NHS volunteering, but there'll also be students that have gone down healthcare profession routes. So we try to, you know, particularly in years 1 and 2, to, you know, explore your options. That's what we say, and we try and encourage you to really look out there and make sure that you don't put all your eggs in one basket. Keep open-minded and look at backup plans as well. So I think Kiranjit and Ikra have really highlighted that there's a lot going on at George's, and it is unique. We're the only programme in the UK for biomed that is on a hospital site, you know, so that, you know, that aspect of it's definitely relevant if you're thinking about going into the healthcare professions. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, I think given that we don't seem to have very many other questions, probably everyone's just thinking quite hard about different things and hasn't had time to sort of formulate that question there. So I think we're probably going to wrap up here. Many thanks to Andrew, Andrula, Kiranjit and Ikra for their time and expertise. And before I leave you, just let me mention that we have actually got an on-site open morning on the 26th of October. Which will be advertised on our website so that you can register if you fancy coming along to St. George's, seeing what it's like on site, exploring what courses are on offer on a more one-to-one basis with our various members of staff and students as well. So do keep an eye on the website for that if you are thinking about coming here to study with us. So just to say thank you again to everybody, and thank you for your time and attention. Hope you've enjoyed it, and enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you. Goodbye.